Hey everybody, Don here. I'm just sitting out here in the forge on a block, looking at my little new stairwell that I'm putting into the front porch area of the house. You know, this used to be an outside veranda, now it's an enclosed porch. I mean, of course, it don't look like much of anything, all built out of scrap like it is. The whole enclosure is. But part of the problem with the room was this staircase here was made out of old treated lumber, and it was real rickety, you know, loose and saggy, and it liked to shift when we walked on it. Well, me and my wife, we're getting to the point in our life where that's too much for us. So I am making, with the help of a good friend of mine, a set of brand new solid block steps out of these old used blocks that came from a trailer that was being torn out, underpinning, you know, from their pier blocks. Now I'm going to use these old flat blocks to make this a solid set of steps. I've got more if I need them. And this is going to be a couple of day project, but I just thought you'd like to see the little update and improvement to my main little work area. I ain't got back to the power hammer and its needs yet because I'm still working on the shelter here. We got to have a place for me to be a good blacksmith in. Yeah, I know, I kept putting a cart in front of the horse and trying to learn the trade before I made a space for the trade. But, you know, I learned the trade. I'm at least an apprentice now. You know, I'm able to make nails and hooks and hammers and knives and forks and spoons and all kinds of neat stuff, which I guess I haven't been posting and bragging in the group here lately because I kind of feel like I should shut up and, you know, not post any more of my videos until I have something really worthwhile and useful to say that isn't just littered through our forum. But meanwhile, I thought you'd like a good look at the forge itself, you know, the idea to think about. You know, I've got this whole side of the room here so that I can look out the window while I'm working. The anvil is set so that I can move it around, and so is my working vise, which is set to anvil height to go with the anvil. Alright. Now, neither one of these are bolted down, they're both loose. You have to stand on the vise. If you're torquing on it, it'll just tip on you, but it does its job real well. I really would like to just anchor the vise somewhere along the side of the room someplace, and then keep moving the vise around it based on what I need. You know, the whole thing will swivel. But for right now, because I'm still not done with the room, I haven't made any permanent decisions about where I'm going to put that. I mean, you know, it's kind of a difficult thing. This is a tight space. This isn't a whole lot of room. Let me move back here, and I'll stand in the doorway so you get a better impression. All right. So this is really only about a 12 by 8, I don't know, 14 by 8 area. This isn't very big. I mean, you know, I'm going to have to get all of its real usage out of this room through vertical storage. Okay? The whole room's framing is made out of steel and wood, a combination of the two. The main supports are all steel. The in-betweens are all wood, and they're fastened into the steel directly. This is real strong construction. It's not going to blow away easily. It'll take a full-fledged tornado hitting it like a dead-on to move it. Over here, on this side of the room, I took advantage of a design stupidity that caused this porch covering to be built after this porch. Okay, not my doing. I just bought the place. You know, it's 70 years old. I've been here for 4 years now. Anyway, so I'm just getting around to this stuff. I've been, you know, redoing the floors in the house, which the particle board is going, resetting the walls in the house because they're starting to sink through the broken particle board on the edges of the building. All those little things that you have to do on a, you know, what should be, you know, a young trailer. Well, this is, you know, what, 50 years old now? It's as old as me. It's almost as old as me. So what I've got here is I've got a leveling pad. It's just splooged out. I've got a line on that side that I used to level it. No big deal. but that's going to make this whole lot better. I'll be able to build the rest of my benches and my storage across that wall where the blocks are at, and finish out this forge area of my shop. Now, of course, I use this regular other outside porch as the other half of my main shop. So out of these two rooms, I do automotive, metalworking, metalsmithing, and those kind of things, which you would think I have no space to do. Well, you're absolutely correct, because I also use this outside forge shop area for anything that's filthy, anything that's dirty, any task that I don't want to have to clean up from inside of the house about. I close these doors off. Eventually, I'm going to put a vent fan up here. I'm going to block this all off, and I'm going to put a louvered vent fan up here. And see, with the way this room has been built and designed, there's a gap. Now, this is a deliberate gap. This is not something that I missed. Okay? Now, that gap is there on purpose. See, we get fumes in our work area. And what I'm taking advantage of right now is natural convex currents. Okay? When I close that door off and I leave that door open, now I have a positive pressure flow coming this way. If I generate any heat at all in this room, at all, it's going to cause the air to start rising and going up out of there. Okay, as long as that door is closed. All right, so this is this room, in actuality, is a kind of a chimney. All right, and it's specifically designed that way so that while I'm doing the things in my forge over here, which doesn't seem like much, okay, all I'm doing is burning propane and heating up metal in here. But you got to remember that all of the substances in a forge are bad to breathe. Everything. There's nothing good in here for you. Okay? You don't want to breathe anything of the smoke, any of the emissions, nothing. And we hardly ever use any sort of personal protection. So, when I was building this room, I put a lot of thought into it. And around the bottom edge on the entire room, there is a little teeny tiny 1.5 to 2 inch crack, depending on what the concrete is like underneath it. And on the actuality, it's very square, but this pad of concrete I'm standing on is 50 plus years old. Okay, so it's been exposed to 50 years plus of deterioration. It's still actually good and solid. It's not cracked, but the surface of it is starting to deteriorate around the outside edges from blow-in water and stuff like that that's been getting on it over the years, and freezing and whatnot. No big deal. Power hammer. I really need to get to work on this gearing. The only things that are left on it is I have to take and change this gearing. I need a smaller pulley on the bottom, bigger one on the top. Then I can adjust the motor, and this thing will work right. This spring arrangement here, I'm still not happy with it. Okay, it works. It works. Only thing is I don't like where it's at. Okay? I feel like this spring arrangement should be on the bottom side of this hammer in arrangement. Okay? I'm not sure why. I almost feel like there should be two of these spring arrangements. One on the bottom of this holding mechanism and one on the top. Okay? And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make another one of these assemblies like this here to go underneath it, to hold this hammer about here in the spring. All right, so this is going to be what's going to come up eventually. I'll show a bunch of details on that later, but I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to release all the plans or nothing until this thing works like a sewing machine, okay? Because unlike Adam, I don't need your money, okay? I don't need anybody's money. I'm retired. Yeah, I'm a veteran. Yeah, I'm a craftsman. Yeah, I want to make a name for myself. And yeah, I'm a teacher. You guys don't understand that, but I actually am a teacher. All right? And so I'm approaching everything I learned from the idea that if I'm learning from this, somebody else could be. And that's why you find all of these crazy classes of mine everywhere on the internet, on all these different forums of the things that I have studied over the years. It's because I'm a teacher. It's not that I ever got degrees and stuff in it, but I did it actually as a career for United Parcel Service for many years. I worked as a computer technician, install technician and stuff, and I had to give bilingual classes on how to take and use and operate computers to people that couldn't even read or write. So, I've gotten to be a pretty good teacher over the years from that. And so I'm sharing all of these things with everybody else because that's the only thing I can come up with to pay it forward for everything I owe my country. I'm a veteran. I owe my country everything. Everything. And I know it. But anyway, beautiful room. Beautiful room. It's fall day. I'm going to have some nice steps into the house. Got to go through my forge and through my automotive tool storage just to even get into my house. Well, you know why that is? Because I'm an old timer. These two rooms, they insulate my house, my old trailer here, my shack, my cracker box. Okay? It's all I can afford. You can live good in something like this if you know how to live. I know how to live. Anyway, think about how nice this is going to be when I'm done. A beautiful bench across here. A nice little grinding area somewhere over in here with maybe a partial wall up in a curtain to take and hold all of the dust, with a vent fan right up there to take and pull all of that dirt and stuff from going everywhere else into the forge. Right here in between that. It doesn't have to be all that much. It's just going to be a hood using the same whole shape of the room to catch the dust that's in this area and pull it up. And a little curtain coming from about where that light is at, coming out this way just a little while, that I can pull out when I need to stop the dust from getting into the rest of the area, so I'm not having to clean my stuff continuously. I cannot stress how important it is to keep your forge clean. I mean, the dirt and the dust from this stuff destroys your machinery. Anyway, there's another little tour of the shop and some of the updates. I think this is way better than a 2-hour-long thread. We'll talk to you later, guys. Bye. There's the start of it. That's the first layer down there. It's going to be a half step. That's the start of the second layer there. So we're going to have one wide step, then two wide steps, and then a third wide step at the top. But they're going to be 2 block thick, the middle and the third step. That way I have an even graduation going all the way up. I'm going to put a metal handrail in. Turn this wall into some sort of a shelving unit so I can just store stuff there. And try not to block off the bathroom window there. And I gotta fix that up there. That's been a problem for the entire time that I've known about this building. They built this awning porch afterwards, and they weren't really too worried about whether this got wet. Don't blame them. So, I got a little leak issue there that I got to deal with, but this will actually be pretty good. I know the camera doesn't show it very well, but it's nice and level. The unlevel thing is the ground, not the pad, this concrete pad. It was made unlevel on purpose to shed water. These stairs are perfectly level. I don't necessarily want them shedding water. I'm going to be sealing them and putting some kind of a grit of some sort in with the sealant when I'm done, after I'm finished, and that'll help keep it from being slippery and stuff. And there's going to be a rail on each side of it, arm grab there on the porch door as well. So this will be real set up real well for me and my wife as we get older. Boy, this has been over a year now getting to this point, closing off this area and building these new stairs. I mean, I've had the block here, but between weather and circumstances and stuff, I just haven't had the time to get to any of this. I mean, it was so bad that I had to take and screen all of the mortar and throw out the portions that were hardened before I could actually mix, and pick out the hardened pieces that went through the screen we used. But this is going to be really nice. Where the bricks are at is going to be a tall workbench, a nice real tall one, something that I can put the old bicycle grinder underneath. That way it'll be out of the way. And that whole area right there is going to be a small, tight little work area. It's not going to be much. And then above the workbench, I'd say starting at about the height of the back of that power hammer there, I want to run shelves across that wall all the way up the wall. Figure about, 14, 16 inches, 18 inches each. So that I got vertical storage to put stuff. I'm going to do that all the way across the wall and around the room. Shelves and storage all the way up, just like I did in that corner there. Because, this is a tight spot. Still got work to do on the doorway here. The lock and the jamb all match up, but the reason they got rid of this door is because there's a defect in the lock. The defect isn't going to take and affect anything. I'm just going to put a new lock set in it and put my hook back on here and close it up for the winter. And then I'm going to put a double-sided lock on it as well that's keyed on both sides, so that you can't take and come in here. When I lock that one, you're not going to be able to just bust a glass and come in here through that. And that's the main thing I'm looking for there. I don't care if people borrow my tools. Anything I've got more than one of, they can borrow. I buy these old junk toolboxes at the flea markets, and clean up the old screwdrivers and whatnot in there, rehandle and weld and anything that needs doing to them, and then they end up over in some collection of stuff like this, of possibly useful tools that I might need. There ain't nothing on this shelf that isn't a duplicate or a triplicate or something. And that's all because, they're junk tools. They come out of junk tool boxes. These deals where some guy is sitting alongside of the road and got all this stuff laid out. That's his little flea market location, his little rummage sale. And, well, he'll have a box, and the box will be lousy. Maybe repairable, maybe not. It'll be half full of tools, one of those old plumbers or carpenter's hand boxes, one of those kind of things. There's my little storage shelf. I can't begin to tell you how useful that thing is. I've got all kinds of smalls in it. It's great. You guys, this is a simple idea. It's not even fastened to anything most of the time. But it's great. I'm probably going to put it right here, right in that spot on the wall, and do the shelving around it, either there or maybe back in that corner. I'm not sure, or along the stair wall right here, because I'm going to build these shelves here too. They're going to be a pretty sturdy thing. I got to hold tools. All of these things I've got to be sturdy in this room. The whole object is to get this mess out of my house. This next room contains all my automotive stuff. Now that's a real mess. Nowhere near as organized as this room. And a good bunch of that stuff in there belongs somewhere out here. Once I get that, and that secured. Okay? Because I have little things that get up and walk occasionally. Because I do loan out tools. And sometimes they even come back. So I try not to get mad about it. Like this little crescent wrench here. This came up missing. This was missing. It was missing from the very hook that I took it off of right there. Okay? I don't know who borrowed it. But whoever borrowed it, they had it for about 2 weeks. And I noticed it as soon as it was gone, because I know what's on my shelves. I know what's where, so I can find it. Anyway, bam, there it is again. No explanation, no nothing. I'm more frustrated that whoever it was is my buddy, and that they, borrowed my tool without letting me know who it was and where it was going, so that I could remind them if they forgot about it later. I don't care if they break them even when I borrow them to them, just that they bring the broken parts back. Got another one of these grinders. I just traded for it. This is a real cool tool. I'm going to make a permanent place somewhere on my workbench, somewhere in my grinding area over here, somewhere right up in here, or over on this corner. I'm not sure which yet. I might do the grinding area in this corner. Not sure yet. That'd be the most sensible because of the chimney. But anyway, I want to have that bench across here, a little divider going up, shelves on the wall, my little grinding booth area to catch all the dust and all the BS, and maybe a table that I can cover up and use for guitar working as well as, the other stuff, because I really, this is my work area. This is my spot. It's got my view still. I don't know if anybody else can see it, but that's what this is all about, is that view. All I can see is a few trees, the old outhouse. I don't care. At least I'm not looking at, other people's man-made stuff. To me, that's the most beautiful thing in the world. Had to move away from my other beautiful thing in the world, so this one's it now. Anyway, new steps. These will last beyond my lifetime. Just like most of the work that I'm doing will. That's my goal. I want people to remember me by the things that I leave behind. So I don't want to make garbage. Anyway, talk to you later, guys. Thanks for watching.